TikTok has kind of consumed my life. It's so easy to just scroll and scroll and scroll, and I keep liking all these cool DIYs I come across thinking, I have to try that. But I never really do, so today I wanted to actually test them out and make some aesthetic DIYs inspired by some TikToks. And also, thank you to Cricut for sponsoring this video. Hello guys, and welcome back to the DIY setup. We haven't been here in a while. So I saw this viral TikTok where this girl upcycled her glass vases to look like ceramic or terracotta with just paint and baking powder. So I got myself some paint and baking powder. It looks super easy and really cool, so I wanted to try it out. So baking powder is a leavening agent. She's a scientist or whatever. When you mix the paint with the baking powder, it activates the acid and base, the carbonate and bicarbonate, to expand and give this bubbly and uneven texture. Pack it up, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Alright, so in the TikTok, they used only glass vases, but I also wanted to try this with a plastic container just to see what would work. So I first prepped by taking off all of the packaging. For the plastic one, I used a detergent bottle because I really like the shape of it. And now I'm using an X-Acto knife to cut off the ridges at the top just so that it looks more like a ceramic shape and not like a bottle. And I would have cut the top of the glass jar, but Girlie does not know how to cut glass, so I just left it. Pop off, sis. I gotta go. Anyway, I just kind of cleaned up the edges with my X-Acto knife to make it a little smoother. So now I'm taking my baking powder. You're supposed to put like a teaspoon in there, but it kind of just exploded out of the container, so it's more like a tablespoon. But then I'm adding my acrylic paint. So the girl on the TikTok said she used interior paint, like wall paint, but you could also use acrylic paint, so that's what I used because that's what I had at home. The ratio is supposed to be 1 teaspoon of baking powder to 1 cup of paint, but I kind of just messed with the proportion to see what worked and kind of just kept adding paint and then baking powder until I got the right consistency. And as you mix it, it starts to bubble up and expand, which is super cool. And once I had that mixture, I just started painting it onto my vase. This was my first test run, so it was really, really lumpy. It kind of looks like cement texture slash plaster, so it's cool, kind of, potentially. But the more baking powder you add, the faster it kind of clumps up and dries up. So you do kind of have to work faster. But for the second one, I decided to go a little more beige in color. I definitely added less baking powder to see what kind of consistency that was, and it definitely was smoother. Still had a few clumps here and there, but pretty cool overall. And it definitely gave off that clay look. And to kind of offset the ridges to make it look less like a twisty jar, I just tried to add more paint at the top to kind of smooth it out. So for the final run, I tried to make this kind of pastel terracotta color, and I definitely added the least amount of baking powder to this, so this is the texture that I got. A little puffy, a little bubbly, but here's what it looks like when I painted it on. Definitely like really smooth looking, but I found that once it dries down, it can bubble up a little bit. I think it actually looks more realistic if you add layers, so it's fun to kind of play around with different amounts of baking powder because you can come up with different textures. After I finished painting, I just let those dry, and this is what they turned out like. I actually think they look really, really cool. My favorite one is the terracotta plastic container because I feel like that looks the most realistic, probably because of the color, and I also just really like the shape. But the downside is when I pick it up, it is super light because obviously it is plastic. The white one do be a little clumpy though. It needs a little airbrushing, but I feel like it does give it character. To be honest, they kind of don't look like the TikTok at all, but I still really like the look of these. I would say it's a success. Okay, so moving on to the next couple of DIYs. I have been on Cricut TikTok before I even had a Cricut. That's how obsessed I am. But I finally have a Cricut maker. It is so beautiful, and there's like so many projects that I want to make with it because it's so versatile. But like I said before, I'm partnering with Cricut on this video. I'm so excited about it because I finally get to live out my Cricut crafting dreams. So it's basically a smart cutting machine, and it can cut over 300 different materials, and you can design whatever you want and send it to the Cricut. It will cut it out. It can also like emboss and score, and it can like etch metal and like all these different things. Like it's so versatile and you can like switch out the tools to make it do different functions. It's just like, you gotta just try it for yourself. So Cricut TikTok is kind of like this magical place for me. I'm sure we've all seen the Spotify plaque being made with a Cricut by now, but there's a couple others that I wanted to try. So I came across this girl who customizes mugs with her Cricut in this really cute cow print pattern, and I have really needed to step up my water drinking game. So I decided to customize a mug of my own. And because girly over here is becoming more lactose intolerant by the day, I decided to not do the cow pattern and do something else. Okay, so I got this pack of textured metallic vinyl from Cricut and I just thought it was so pretty, so I really wanted to use it for this mug project. So I'm opening up Cricut Design Space on my computer, but they also have a mobile version so you can design from anywhere, and they have a bunch of different graphics that you can use. So I just chose this star, but you can also import your own text or graphics. So I'm just duplicating a bunch of these stars, and this process is literally so easy. It took me like 5 minutes to figure out, and now I'm gonna prep my materials. So I'm using my Cricut standard grip mat, and this is awesome because you can just stick whatever material you need to onto the mat. And so I just cut a section of my vinyl and stuck it on there, and then I just let it do its thing. This is so satisfying, at least for me, to watch. I just think it's so cool. Like I just kind of sit there staring at it because I'm like, this is the coolest thing that I've ever seen. And once it was done cutting, I just kind of unloaded it out of the machine, and you can kind of see the cut lines now. I'm just peeling it off of the mat and then peeling the excess vinyl off to reveal the parts that I actually want. And I'm just using my weeding tool to kind of get rid of the extra parts. Now I'm taking some transfer tape, which is just this clear sticker material, if you will, and this is just to help me transfer my vinyl onto the mug. So here's my clear glass mug. I am just going to start sticking my vinyl onto there. This is permanent vinyl, so it's completely washable, which is awesome. So I first put my crescent on there, and then I used my scraper tool just to make sure it was completely adhered. And then for the stars, I cut them out separately and stuck them on with the transfer tape, pressed it down with my scraper tool, and then peeled the tape off to reveal a clean looking star. So I just did that throughout the whole entire mug, and oh, this is so cute. I think the texture of the vinyl is so unique, and also just like the gold, how it's metallic. I'm just obsessed. So I went ahead and wanted to make another one. So if you guys watched my last video, I launched the Glow Up project. I would highly recommend going to watch that video because it's like nothing I've done before. But anyway, I feel like we've kind of formed this Glow Up club together where we're all gonna get our lives together this year. So I wanted to make myself a Glow Up Club mug / potentially Glow Up Club merch, I don't know. So I just designed this wavy Glow Up Club text and sent it to my Cricut to cut out and stuck it onto my glass mug, and ooh, I screamed. I actually screamed when I peeled off the transfer tape because it looks so professional and so cool, and I can't believe I made this by hand. Let me know if you guys would want Glow Up Club merch. Anyway, I didn't want to just stop there because I literally could not stop. So I cut out a bunch more of these smaller versions of stars and crescent shapes on my Cricut. So I just stuck those all around the mug and used my scraper tool to make sure everything was adhered properly. And I think it turned out so incredibly cute, and this will definitely help me drink more water. I'm obsessed with these. I think they're so aesthetically pleasing and cute. Okay, the next TikTok I saw was this girl making her own t-shirts from her Cricut designs. And here's the thing. We all know that iron-on transfer paper is a thing, but the issue that I ran into over the years is you can't make intricate designs that are white on a dark fabric because there's no way I can cut out those designs by hand. So here's where the Cricut comes in handy. All right, to continue my obsession with turning everything I own into Glow Up Club merch, I am designing a little text graphic for a shirt that says the Glow Up Project estimated 2021. And this is going to be for the front corner of a crew neck. And for this, I'm using some Cricut Everyday Iron-On vinyl. So I'm going to be using the white sheet and I'm just sticking it onto my mat. And before you print, you can choose the type of material that you're going to cut. And for this, it reminded me that I needed to mirror my image because I was using iron-on. And then of course, I just loaded it into my Cricut Maker and let it cut out my design. So I also designed something for the back that's kind of this like cool, wavy, distorted text. You'll see in a second. So after I was finished cutting, I just peeled it off of the mat. And I learned this hack on TikTok. To make sure that your vinyl doesn't curl, you can flip it over and peel the mat off of the vinyl instead. So shout out TikTok. And then I just went ahead and peeled off the vinyl that I didn't need. Not gonna lie, this part is kind of time consuming, but I found it really therapeutic. I just rewatched Infinity War and I cried like a baby and I loved every second of it. So after I finished weeding and once I flip it around, this is what it's supposed to look like the right way around. So I'm grabbing my blank crew neck. It's this cool like ashy gray color. Am I stupid? It's this ashy green color. Actually, I don't know how to describe this color. It's green. So I'm grabbing my Cricut Easy Press, which is basically like a giant iron/hot plate. I just preheated my shirt for about 5 seconds and then I just placed my vinyl onto there. So I basically just followed the instructions for my iron-on vinyl. Once it was cooled, I just peeled off the plastic to reveal my design. It's so clean and crisp. And now onto the back, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm preheating it for 5 seconds, placing my graphic on and just pressing it for 30 seconds. I just let it cool, peeled it off, and this is what it looks like. I think this is so freaking cute. I've been wanting to make this style of shirt for so long, but there's no way I could have cut these letters out by hand or even painted it on by hand. So the Cricut really came through. I literally want to make like 50 more because I think it's so cute. But anyway, I freaking love this Cricut and I can't wait to make tons more projects with it. And if you want to learn more about the Cricut, just click the link in the description. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, for the next DIYs, I keep seeing these TikToks and pictures on Pinterest of people making CD art and they look so cute and like super easy to make. I actually have a bunch of old CDs laying around because I was born in the 90s. Well, barely, 1998, but still. And I kept them around because I figured I could one day use them. And it is finally their time to shine. Okay, so I just grabbed some CDs that I had at home. These have been in my house for like over a decade. So apparently you're just supposed to cut lightly on the surface of the CD and grab some tape and you can just peel the holographic stuff off. So I peeled and it actually worked really, really well. I was so surprised. And so I kind of just went around the whole CD peeling off all of the foil. So the first CD was a success. Now, I tried to do this again with the rest of the CDs because, you know, I was like, this is so easy, like it took 30 seconds. For some reason, none of the others worked as well as it did on the first one. Like the foil or whatever just would not come off of the CDs and my tape would keep getting stuck and like the goo would be stuck to the CD. And I tried this with like 5 different CDs and I'm not sure what it is. Like all of the TikToks that I've seen have looked very easy for the removing process, which it did go really smoothly with the first CD. I feel like maybe it's because other people are using like fresh CDs that they just bought, whereas these ones have been sitting in my house for like 15 years and maybe it's like extra stuck to the CD plastic. Not really sure. But anyway, an hour or 2 later, I ended up with just 3 CDs that were usable. So I feel like it's really a hit or miss. But anyway, for the first CD, I wanted to recreate this TikTok DIY with these smiley faces. So I'm just grabbing a permanent marker and just drawing a bunch of smiley faces. So in the TikToks that I've seen, they usually paint and draw the graphics on the top facing part of the CD. But for me, I decided to do the opposite and do my graphics on the bottom part of the CD, just so that when I finished I could flip it over and it would have a cleaner look and it would be glossy, if that makes sense. I grabbed some yellow acrylic paint on a thin paintbrush and I just painted these circles around the smiley faces. I feel like it actually would be easier to apply the paint first and then put the smileys on because then you can actually see like the parameters of where you can draw the face on. But anyway, I let those dry for a bit, and then I took an assortment of different colors to paint some petals. And I just painted a bunch of semicircles around the smileys to make some flowers. I did this with white paint, this like pastel orange, and then also pastel purple. I was going for a pastel theme. So anyway, this was a super easy process, and I just set that aside to dry for now. And let's move on to the second one. I wanted to continue with the smiley face theme. I also wanted to recreate these like distorted, goofy smileys. So I just took my permanent marker again, drew a bunch of eyes, and then just like went kind of crazy with the smile. And then, you know the drill. I grabbed my pastel yellow paint and just painted some circles around the smileys, but this time I made them like not perfect circles, and I kind of just followed the shape of the smileys that I drew. How many times have I friggin' said smileys in this video? So anyway, letting that dry for a bit, but moving on to the third one for now. So I wanted to experiment with one that wasn't a clear CD. So for this, I mixed up a little bit of this green pastel paint, which I think is really fun for the springtime coming up. And once that was dry, I just took my yellow paint again, and I'm just painting a bunch of dots for the centers of the flowers. And now I'm just taking some white acrylic paint and painting a bunch of petals to make daisies. There's really a daisy and smiley face theme going on here. And once I was finished, I had this super cute daisy pattern. I'm obsessed with this. Now that the other two are done drying, these are what they look like. I'm obsessed with these. I think they're so cute and so aesthetically pleasing. I saw one TikTok where they put it back into the clear CD case. So yeah, I would say this is definitely a success. So those are my TikTok inspired DIYs. I had a lot of fun doing these. Thank you guys so much for watching. I highly recommend going to watch my glow up project video. I spent like 3 weeks on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!